Hello guys, and we're live.
Hey, welcome back to a new episode of Pacecast. This is now the third week in a row that we're live and actually getting closer and closer to actually starting at 8 o'clock sharp, or at
Yeah,
least for our time,
maybe
7,
1 minute
7
late.
for you.
Maybe just 1 minute late this time. It's not so bad.
Yeah, we need to leave some room for improvement, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Welcome back to our YouTube channel and to our podcast about RC drifting. We have quite a big program today, a lot of stuff to talk about. And let me kick it off by saying that we also have the chat running, the live chat. So if you have any questions, feel free to jump in, send us any questions, comments, remarks, whatever.
Yeah,
anything you would like to see.
We've already got one from Jack, which is good.
Yeah, so either for this episode, or if we don't get to it, then we'll save it for the next one. Last week we had another great episode. Also some questions coming in. We went over some of the rare stuff in my collection of RC cars, which was a question sent in by Martin. So that's very nice. And for this week, we also have a question that came in throughout the week, basically, about from Vivian in South Africa, about maybe talking about the community, talking about some of the events that have happened in the last week or so. So that's what we'll talk about today. So yes, Vivian, stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
And of course, we have some news going on this week. Nice to see that 3 weeks in a row, the RC drift companies bring out some new stuff. So at least we have something
makes our life a bit easier for sure.
Exactly. So I guess we're spoiled for choice so far. So that's really good. And I see you're wearing a very nice T-shirt, James.
Tell
us all about that.
Well, so I set up a little Teespring store last week, mostly because I wanted to get myself a T-shirt with Pacecast on, and it is one of the easy ways to do it. So I chucked it together, put some basic designs up there, mostly just so I could order some stuff for myself. And then I found out there were people already ordering it without me telling anyone it even existed. So I thought I should probably announce it and make it available to people. So there's some Pacecast stuff up there, there's some regular Pace stuff up there, and I'll probably at some point add some more designs and things as well. But I just wanted to get something available. So yeah, you can order. They ship from either the US or from Europe, so it depends where you are in the world and what you're ordering, where it'll be shipped from. But it's pretty quick. I mean, I ordered this all on Wednesday and it turned up yesterday, so that's kind of good. I have also set up a nice discount code for people, and I will show you the shop now. So we've got a basic merch store set up, so you can see we've got some t-shirts, some hoodies. There's all premium stuff. I didn't go for the cheap options on anything. There is an ultra premium hoodie and a nice hoodie, but this is the tri-blend t-shirt, and it's super comfy, super nice. But I've also set up a nice discount for people.
Always good.
So for the next week, you can get 10% off any order if you use the discount code PACECAST3. So that's kind of just a thanks for anyone who wants to dive in and grab something while it's nice and early. But,
if you're already a fan of the show, then if you're quick, maybe next week you'll have the shirt already by the time we have our new episode live, which would be pretty cool.
Fingers crossed Tijs' stuff turns up by next week. I sent him a little package.
So maybe if you really do that, it would be nice to send us some pictures. That,
for sure.
That would be well appreciated.
Yeah, for sure. And definitely tag me and send me pictures and whatever on Facebook and Instagram. It's always good to see.
Yeah, so what else is new this week? I mentioned that we have some new products released throughout the week.
Yes, so we've got, I guess we start with the new tyres from MST.
Yes, who would have thought, right? I mean, it's been years that we've been running the MST Silver Dots. I know they have different options. I haven't really used many.
I've used them all. I've tried them all for sure.
Purple.
Yeah,
I used to have purple for concrete, and a long time ago we had blues, but that's all I've ever touched.
Blues are good on asphalt for sure. They did. This is actually the second tyre MST's brought out since I can remember. That is a dedicated carpet tyre. The other ones they brought out were orange dots, and they were useless. I literally, when we had Sol RC Open, we had I think we bought 200 or something like that because they told me it'd be slower, more consistent, nicer than the silver dots we were currently using. I put them on my car, did half a lap, and they melted. And I wasn't even pushing them that hard. They just reacted with the carpet and literally blistered all the way around. So when they announced these, I wasn't that excited because the problem we have in Europe is that all of our carpet has fire retardant in, and it's made from different materials than a lot of Asia and other parts of the world. So I was expecting maybe these wouldn't be great. But Dan Chapman's an RC Boss driver, so he's connected with us. But he's already written a little review on Facebook, and basically he really likes them.
He was pretty happy. I was quite surprised to read that. Like you, I was expecting them to be made for whatever carpet they have elsewhere, but not the European ones full of chemicals, basically.
Yeah.
But so far, it sounds pretty good.
Yeah, he seems pretty happy. I mean, he was. We've got some on order with RC Boss, but they haven't actually arrived with us yet, so it's going to be a little bit of time. But he was going to pick me some up from his local shop, but unfortunately he didn't end up making it to the track I was out of the weekend, so I didn't get to get them off him. But I'll be trying them out soon for sure. But yeah, Dan knows his stuff. He knows how to test tyres and know whether you can push them or whether they're going to crumble if you go too hard. And they seem to hold up, so that's kind of good. So it'll be interesting to see whether the tracks decide to go for them, or if there's any pushback from people that don't want to buy new tyres. But my logic is better tyres is better drifting, and you have to buy new tyres eventually. So
yeah, the one thing that really stood out for me is that it's usually the same problem with all of the new tires, that when you have lots of boost, lots of turbo, which basically a lot of wheel speed, they heat up so quick and don't cool down. You just basically start almost boiling tires, and from that moment on, it's just speed and traction, nothing else. Which apparently these don't.
No.
Or at least on Dan's car where he tested them. So.
And I was going to say, on the carpet he tried, but it doesn't mean they won't somewhere. But it's a good sign, because normally you can make, if you try, which is what he was doing, you can make any tyre get hot and change its feel and grip levels pretty easily. So yeah, it's good to see, and it's good to see something new coming, because one of the things we've been struggling with in the UK particularly is consistency in carpets, because people end up putting silicone and whatever else on to slow it down because the tyres are too fast. So hopefully this will mean a little bit lower speed, so we can have less crap on the carpet and make it a bit more consistent, a bit more fun, and that'll make me happy.
Yeah, me too. I'll definitely be ordering a set. Maybe once we actually have some in our hands, we can share again if it actually did work or not.
Yeah.
And since you have the treated carpet around you quite often on different tracks, here it's the opposite. Here it's all of the world's carpet, basically.
Yeah.
So then we also have two different surfaces to test on. So I'm very curious to see how they will work. And I'm happy to see DS or MST come out with some new tires, because it's been DS everywhere, basically.
Well, they do have their full range. So they've actually got a whole bunch of tires. We don't really use many of them at all. Like you say, we use the silver. Occasionally I use the blue of them on tarmac, because it's a good tarmac tire and they're readily available in Europe. But then other than that, I mean, all of the ones you see on that chart that start with an 8 number, they come in pairs. The reds are way too soft, and they'll melt any carpet, along with the golds, really. But yeah, it's just good to try out the whites. It'd be interesting to see how they are on other surfaces as well. I suspect on concrete they might be pretty good too, because the silver dots are a very good concrete tire, and actually cookies they don't even wear, which is always a good sign.
No, so, I was happy with that. So mine are still good enough for carpet. They're a bit dusty, but if you clean them up, or maybe grab like a little piece of old carpet, do one quick burnout, and then they're clean again. So, I'm super interested to see how they will work. But yeah, I think more on that later.
We actually get there, right? We'll have to definitely revisit, I think. Anyway, next up, unfortunately, it's only a tiny picture because it's the biggest one they had on their website, but we've got the new 275 chassis decks from D-Like for the RER, which is...
So this is funny because last episode we talked about different wheelbases and widths and stuff. So we see Addiction going smaller. I mean, Yokomo has 275, so does MST, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
But now D-Like joins the ranks, so one of the other top brands basically has this option now.
Yeah, and
it's very interesting.
I think it's good because it suits the D-Like sort of ethos. I think of how they're D-Like, well, the RER in particular is kind of there to make realistic looking movements, and the whole weight shifting and their whole style of driving. I think there's probably no brand that 275 would suit better, because you've got an S15 up against a 4-door JZX. Well, it's going to look amazing if that JZX is actually longer than the S15, especially if you look at the Guild on One videos and things like that come out. and the way they're filmed to look as realistic as possible, I think it'll be a really good option. The only strange thing that they've done is you can buy the carbon now. There you go. There's a comparison between the two decks. You can buy the carbon decks now, but there's no center shaft available, so you can't use it yet. They're still waiting to produce the 19mm longer center shaft, and also D-Like make a lot of bodies, but they don't make any 275mm bodies yet. Although I'm sure if they're doing these, they probably will.
That has been the Achilles heel, I think, of 275 so far. That body shells, they're just really not that available. I mean, you have how many options from Yokomo that are still left to buy?
I
Two?
think 3. I might be wrong, but they do the Mark X, they do the JZX 100 Mark II, and I'm sure there's another option. They're not easy to get hold of for sure, but I'm sure they're still available. But either way, it's 2 or 3, and it doesn't give you much choice, does it, when you're trying to enjoy drifting? I'm a big fan. I want to run 275 again. And to be perfectly honest, I've been looking at picking up another RER. I got rid of my last one. I think it was 4 or 5 years ago. Yesterday, I had a notification on my phone. So yeah, I've been tempted.
Might have been CS still.
It was CS, and it was twin servo. So it was.
Yeah, of course.
It was good fun.
One of the other trends from long gone.
Yeah, it worked really well, but yeah, it's definitely, mine was an early one, and the quality wasn't so good, so it moved on pretty quick. But I'm definitely keen to try another one, and 275 would make it more amazing as well for me. I think it gives me another reason to look at it. The other option I've been looking at is using my Travis, so this means I can have options, which is always good when you're looking at new chassis.
Yeah. I'm curious to see if anyone who's really into the RER, because there's a little group, like a little very active group
for sure.
here around Europe that's really into the RER.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping at least one of them will pick the setup once the drive shafts is available.
Yeah.
So we can have a see how it goes in real life.
Yeah, I think the only maybe tricky thing if you are an RER owner is I would buy this carbon deck now. Don't wait for the center shaft to come out, because the chances are when the center shaft is available, they'll sell out of the decks as well. So I would pick this up while they're available. But I've just changed the image on the screen, and you can see that they've actually changed the design of the top deck a little bit. So they've just made it solid. So it's kind of chunkier looking and less probably less pretty, I'd say. But more...
Might make sense with the wheelbase though, because you're making the chassis longer, you will add flex.
Yeah, for sure.
I think this might counteract that a little bit, so you at least keep the handling sort of similar.
And also, I think one of the big things those guys are doing is the Kashigari style movement, where they're using a lot of weight and a lot of high up weight. So having a solid deck means you can mount stuff wherever you need to mount it as well. So maybe it's partly for that. Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I thought that was quite interesting. I'm just going to say a quick hello to everyone that's joining us in chat. It seems nice and active, which is good. So yeah, thank you.
Bauke already has his shirt on the way, so
yes,
I want to see pictures next week.
Yeah, for sure, man. There's quite a few sold already, which I'm quite impressed with. So again, thanks for anyone that's placed an order.
Awesome.
So this chassis deck is 13,500 yen, and it's available now, from what I can tell. I checked out the D-Like website before to get the pictures, and they had almost 300 in stock. So I assume that's actual stock and not pre-orders. But yeah, it's kind of cool.
There's still some available then.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be too quick.
No, but knowing the way these things work, that when the center shaft comes out, that's not that long until that disappears.
Is that still a popular chassis in Japan? Because I can imagine that if it is, then those decks will be gone pretty quickly.
There's a lot of them going around. I don't think it's that popular at any of the sort of the famous tracks, apart from Gildan 1 and those sorts of places. But there's definitely a good fan base for it in Japan. You see maybe one at a bunch of tracks, and it's somebody's second or third chassis, but they love it, and they probably will never sell them. So they're the kind of guys that have had it since that they launched, and they still take it with them to the track.
Yeah, so it's not too different than it is here, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's kind of, it was a bit of a niche chassis that struck a chord with people, didn't it? So I think it's kind of.
I like it. I mean, the movement is amazing. It looks
I do
great.
too.
It's not something for competition, but on the videos, it's
Yeah, for
Really
sure.
good. I really like it.
For sure. It definitely serves a purpose, and I think there's a reason they haven't replaced it with a new chassis, because it still does the job they want it to do very well. Again, the only problem I had was early ones. The quality was it's very soft aluminium, where and I think I might have mentioned before, but the on mine the diff bearings were eating the diff housing, and they weren't binding. So yeah, it was not so good. Anyway,
the bearings should be the thing to wear. But
yes. Yeah. Moving on, it's pretty good for us in the UK. We've got a new drift championship, a national series been announced, the UKDC. A whole bunch of guys who got together to do this, and they've got all the sort of collaboration between a bunch of different tracks, which you can't really see it in that image, but I'm sure you've seen the image on Facebook already. So this one's a bit different because they've basically split the country into 3 regions, and you can only actually enter your local region. So I can only enter the Midlands region. So I've got 3 rounds for a championship, and I can become, if I was to win all of them or do well, I can become the regional champion. And then there's a grand final at Silverstone in October for the top 16 from each region to be crowned the national champion.
Plus also a bonus round, right?
And there is a bonus round as well. So it's top 2 scores from each driver count for your position in the region, but you can use the 4th round to boost that score. So if you're not doing so good, you can take the long trip up to Scotland and get a decent score down and improve your ranking. So that's kind of interesting as well, because to be honest, I think that's one of the rounds I'm most interested in, because I've not been up to Scotland to drift yet. So it gives me a good reason to go up.
Yeah, I was mostly surprised by the amount of different tracks, because none of the rounds, as I saw it, and maybe I looked wrong, but none of the rounds will be at the same track.
The North region has rat trap twice. Okay. But other than that,
Scotland at some point, right?
Well, that's a separate
track.
That's a separate bonus. So yeah, there's the North region has rat trap is round 1 and round 3, and then they've got Get Your Drift On, which is Middlesbrough. So yeah, it's the only thing I've seen that I would like to have changed personally is I'd like to be able to do any rounds. Like if I wanted to do all of them, I'd like to do all of them for North, South, and Midlands. I'm not going to realistically, and I understand why they've done it for sure. But for example, I live in the Midlands, but actually Drift Essex is closer to me than some of the other tracks. So they're one of the tracks for the southern region. In fact, 2 of the tracks for the southern region are closer to me than tracks in the Midlands, I think. So it's no problem. I like I say, I understand it, because they're trying to basically create a good smaller championship for each region, I think, and then have the top drivers from each of them go through. So fingers crossed. I'm going to do my best to support it and to attend all the 3 rounds for the Midlands. The only thing I'm going to struggle with is whether I'm available for a couple of the rounds, purely because I think in May I may already have a trip planned overseas. So that might throw me out for round 1 for me, but I'll do what I can, and I'll be there when I can, for sure.
But you have a scratch result, right? So you can
yes,
you can compete only 2 out of 3 rounds and still basically have a shot at a championship, or at least regional.
Only the 2 scores count. So yeah, it's not the end of the world if you have to miss one, which is a good way of doing it for sure.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, I'm impressed by the setup, and it's probably a long time coming. I know discussions from years and years ago about setting up something for the entire of England or UK, which is very tricky, because if you live all the way in the south, you don't want to drive up north and the other way around.
Yeah.
So this is really cool. And then with the bonus round or a final included, then you have some options.
Yeah, and I think the good thing as well is they're trying to set it up so that it's not all at one track, so that the local guys that track have an advantage. They're trying to make it as fair as possible, and then hopefully it's not been confirmed yet, but I'm hoping that the final at Silverstone is on concrete, which will be the only other concrete track there is Get Your Drift On in Middlesbrough. Everything else is carpet. So for me, I like having a final on a different surface to what most people are used to. It's what they do at the RCDC event in Japan. Everyone drives on every other surface but carpet, but that round is on carpet as a sort of equalizer for everybody, which I kind of like.
At least then it's a level playing field, indeed. I mean, it's something new for everyone, especially if the track is also quite different size than Get Your Drift On. then it will just be the same for everyone. And maybe also, since it's a final round, I mean, I think, how does it work? You get crowned regional championship, but then you still have a final round.
Yes. So
the final round will basically be then the UK champion.
Yes, exactly. So there's the 3 regional championships will be finished by the last round is the 26th of September, and then the 4th of October is essentially the national championship final, to crown the national champion, and you have to qualify to get to that spot essentially.
So then having a different surface then would really be good, because everyone who will enter has already done pretty well in their regional series, basically.
Yeah.
And then you just have something new to see how well you are at setup, how well you are at learning a track, dealing with these changes. So then you really get the cream of the crop, basically.
And there's also a bit of a sort of bonus to it for RC drifting in the UK, in the sense that there's quite a few. I think there's 2 or 3 shows on at Silverstone during the year before this, at car shows. So there's one at Japfest, and I think there's one at Ford Fest, but I might have the name of that one wrong. So it means anyone who's serious about this will make sure they make the trip down, because they get essentially some seat time on the surface before. So it means good attendance for those shows, as well as a good show when the final comes around in October. So yeah, it's really good, and I'm super happy that somebody's done it, because there's been talk of doing something like this for many years, and getting everyone to cooperate and collaborate is really hard, because people always feel like they're left out, or that there's going to be some favoritism, or they wanted to arrange the championship themselves and they weren't happy that somebody else was taking care of it. So it's good that so many tracks have come together and basically been able to pull something off. So fingers crossed, a lot of the UK guys will support it for sure, I think. I've seen a lot of people saying they're going to attend that normally don't do competitions, which is good, just purely to support it. So hopefully we'll have decent attendance at every round for every region.
Will it be the same rulebook for every region? I assume so, right? Since it's the same.
I believe so. I think they haven't officially, as far as I know anyway, I haven't seen it yet. They haven't announced the rules for it, but I would assume it's going to be the same, and I would assume they're going to use the same tyres where possible. But to be perfectly honest, as far as I know, everyone uses the same tyres anyway. I'm not entirely sure about Get Your Drift on, but I believe they probably use silver dots anyway. But I have a sneaky feeling they use DS. But everyone else, as far as I know, uses silver dots. So yeah, it'll be good to see. And it's reasonably cheap. And the other thing that's quite good that they're doing is the entrance fee is £20. £10 of that is for the championship, and £10 of that is to support the track. So
nice.
Each of the venues, they get paid for the day, because a lot of the venues are actually, or some of the venues I should say, are rented sports halls, village halls, that kind of thing. So it's not free to put on the day. So it's a good way of doing it. And like I say, hopefully everyone is working together and supporting it. So it should be positive, which is good.
And £20 is not too bad, actually, when you only have three rounds, or maybe even 2. Realistically, you have to enter.
If you can go and win a couple of rounds, you only have to do 2 for sure. In fact, you probably only have to do 1. I'm sure that'll get you high enough in the championship, depending on how the rules are going to allocate the points to get you in the top 16.
But not the champion, so that's what everyone wants to go for, I guess.
Yeah. But, anyway, speaking of other championships,
it's been a busy weekend. We had a question come in from Vivian to talk about the all of the comps that went on. That's a really good suggestion. Past weeks. I really didn't have to look any further than literally just the last weekend. I'm just going to pause you there, Tijs. We've got an update from Richie saying that they use DS LF3s that Get You Drift on. So there you go. Right. So I was half right when I corrected myself. But then again, it's also I'll find out soon enough. So it makes sense that you have different tires than on carpet. So anyway, back on. Yeah. So busy weekend. We had a couple championship rounds going on. Couple D110 rounds. Vivian suggested one himself as well in South Africa. So let's just go through them and see what happened. I think it's nice to do this on a regular basis. So maybe already a call out for anyone who has entered a competition or has something on the agenda. Feel free to share anything with us so we can and if you give a shout out. Just as the techie guys of Pacecast, if you can send me some photos and tables and things like that of what's happened, it makes it a bit easier for us to cover, because we've got things to
actually see and share with everybody. So you'll see what we've got here. If you can give us this kind of thing, it's very helpful. But yeah, just any news is good, and it's for us. If we can do something to help promote events and championships, we're happy to.
Yeah, exactly. So first thing on my list, my literal list right in front of me here, is the D110 in Germany, in Sweden actually.
Yes.
Both of them happened this weekend. It's been busy for D110. So D110s in Sweden, they had their first round for this year. So yeah, there's multiple D110 competitions throughout Europe. We have one in the Netherlands, of course, where it started, but other countries have taken on the championship as well. So they had their first round last weekend. I don't know if it was 1 or 2 days, but either way, it was the first round, and it was at Indoor RC Arena. And I hope I'm going to say this correctly, but we might butcher some names and places today. But it was in Västerort. Tell me if I'm correct, someone from Sweden.
That's better than I'd have said it, so that's an improvement already.
Yeah. So I think we also have some pictures up, right? So this this is basically an indoor RC arena. It says in the name, a big place with also a touring car circuit and stuff.
Yeah, you can actually see in the back of the photo I've got on there. But there's at least one more track, and I think there's one to the right as well.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I don't know if this RC drift track is permanent though, because if you look at it, there's not really any scenery on the floor at all. It's just carpet lines, and that's it.
And a couple of
competition, which for a competition is pretty good, I guess, because then you don't really have any distractions or anything going on. It really is just running the correct lines, clipping points, etc. But yeah, so they had their competition round going on. It's a carpet track. They were on DS Racing tires. Let's see which ones. It was the F0 Mark IIs, which I'm sure we've also used, but I sort of lost count on.
Yeah, we've definitely used them.
Which ones they are exactly, but yeah. So we had David and Frederick. So David, we've seen at Cookies a few weeks ago as well, together with Jenny. They set up these competitions in Sweden, and they were the judges. But David also was top qualifier, which is cool. I don't know how exactly that setup works. We used to do something similar as well, where we had one spare judge basically, so we could drive ourselves and then get back for the next heat. But I think something like that went on, and we had different people in the top 3, which is always interesting to see. First place Casper, second place Andreas, and third place Mikke. So congratulations to those guys for getting ahead of the rest in the first round out of I don't know how many. But,
I can see 19 according to the qualifying list. Which is good. And then, the final results are there. I don't have any points, I'm afraid, for championship stuff, but that's the order for the championship since this was round 1.
Yeah, and then the next round I saw was on 20 Crazy Drift, which is the local track to David himself.
Just to repeat that was the 25th of April. You went quiet for a second, Tijs.
So the cable in my laptop doesn't work.
No.
Oh yeah, the 25th of April indeed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then if there's another result, then I guess we can share that after the 25th of April.
Yeah, for sure. And so I think David will probably keep us updated with the rest of the championship. And
so if anyone else has competitions going on, then just like him, let us know. Send some pictures, send some videos. That's something we can do as well.
Yep, for sure. Well,
it's always nice.
We'll find out later if we can do that. We think we can do that. We'll see if it crashes everything. There's a reason it's going to be later, just in case it kills everything. But actually, the Swedish Championship is one of the places I've got on my radar to go and try and do around this year. I haven't worked out exactly when, but I'm going to try and make it happen. I think April 25th is not going to be able to happen for me because potentially I've got a judging event the weekend before, I think it is. But we'll see how we can get on.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those places I've never been yet. So Norway.
I've been very close many times.
Yeah. Denmark was the closest so far for me, but it's one of those places I really want to visit because I always like seeing how other competitions are run, how other tracks look, what the driving styles are, because it's always slightly different.
Yeah, for sure. And also the judging,
usually in a good way.
And competitions, especially smaller national championships or smaller club championships, you tend to find people have worked out efficient ways to judge things or to cover judging or to work out the scoring or something like that, because it's by necessity they've had to come up with something clever to get around the fact there isn't a bunch of guys helping out. So sometimes you learn some really interesting things at the smaller competitions. Not to say that Sweden's one of the smaller ones, but for me, I'd like to enter as many national series, I think, as I can over the next couple of years for sure. So yeah, Sweden is definitely up there. Germany's up there. South Africa, maybe. I haven't seen stuff now. It's tempting for sure.
Yeah, definitely. At least we know a couple of good guys there, so that's always good.
Yeah,
I'm sure they can show us around.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and speaking of Germany, they also have D110 going on. But this is actually quite a funny one. It was the final round for 2019 last weekend.
Do you know why? Why was it postponed?
I think the final round was postponed. I know that last year they had, I think, the first round that was cancelled. So I think maybe the whole schedule basically sort of moved up.
Okay.
Something like that. And I'm sure Timo or someone else will correct me, but it was the final round of 2019. I mean, it's nice that they at least made it happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Everyone who's counting on having an extra round and then not getting it, and maybe then losing out in points, at least they got the chance they were expecting. So yeah, that was going on at Devil's Drift Crew in Stuttgart.
Yeah, DDC.
Which is a beautiful track.
Yes, it is. I've got a couple of pictures on the screen at the minute. And actually, somewhere this again been on my radar to go for a while. I've spent quite a lot of time talking to particularly Bob and Seb Thorley at events in Holland and the Czech Republic and stuff recently, and yeah, they've won me over to the idea of going around to check it out. I think I like concrete and I like nice driving, and they seem to do quite a lot of nice driving there. There's a lot of videos come out, particularly from the top drivers. It's either the local guys at DDC or some of the guys that visit, and yeah, it's very tempting to go and visit.
I knew it was there, and I've seen pictures before, but it seems like lately either I'm paying more attention or more footage is being sent out onto Facebook and Instagram and stuff. But it's really tempting to go and have a visit. I think it's a permanent track setup as well.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
I don't know if it's
it's quite nicely detailed as well. There's a lot of not too much. I think for me, I'm not a big fan of tracks that are scale replicas of something, purely because to me I just want to drive. That's the key thing. But it makes photos and videos look incredible when they've got some nice track scenery in the background. There's nothing worse than taking photos of guys doing drifting and all you can see is people in the background or their feet or board guys or whatever. So when there's some nice scenery, it does make all the photos and videos look much better.
Yeah, especially also the videos, because I've seen a couple from this track and they always look really good. And I think these are also the guys that do the which event is it? They do one of the big shows they put on together with a bunch of other Germans and maybe even the Austrians.
Okay,
I forgot which one. I think it's Erfurt, if I say correctly. But that one is usually big, like a big track, and it's pretty much dressed up just as much as this permanent track, which to me is very impressive. That you have to carry all of the scenery, put it up for 2, maybe 4, 5 days, and rip it all up and pack it back up and bring it home. So yeah, it's a cool place. I really want to go. So invite me.
Tell us when something cool's happening.
Yeah. So D110. It was the last round of last year's season, basically, which is always fun because you usually don't just have winners in the competition round itself, but also a championship to crown or champion to crown. So we had Daniel Kramer, who we both know as well. He was a top qualifier and the winner of the event. So that's always really good. Perfect event for him. So yeah, congratulations. Second, we have Sebastian Torley, who we just talked about already. And then third was Marcel, who's actually a local guy of DDC. So I guess he had a little bit of advantage there knowing the track, but still pretty good against some pretty fierce competitors, I have to say.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the strength in the Germany lineup of drivers at the moment is kind of crazy. The whole group that end up at the Worlds are really, really high skill and also have a lot of fun. So it's it's always good to see them driving. It was good to see them, a bunch of them, over this last year again at the Worlds and then Prague at the Cross Games event. And hopefully we'll definitely, I'm going to say definitely, I'm going to make it Germany this year. I think 2 years in a row I've aimed to go, and then stuff's come up. But definitely going to put that up as one of the places I need to head to this year, along with Sweden. They're my two main European venues I want to head to, or countries I want to head to. Just to go back to what we were saying before about different championships having different clever ways to get around judging struggles. Someone in chat has mentioned that in Finland they use an infrared proximity sensors for partial judging. So yeah, that's something I'm very interested in, because I'd like to do something similar. So whoever's set them up, feel free to send me a message and some information, because I think that's something that would definitely help a lot of judges, particularly on big tracks, even if it's not to replace a judge.
I know it's been attempted quite a few times already.
Yeah, I've been working on something similar, but I've hit a bit of a stumbling block. So it would be good if someone could send me some info.
Yeah, we tried some as well. It seems reliability is always the issue. So it's interesting to see a competition actually put them to use, because then they have to be at least.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, they in RCDC events and Yokomo events in Japan, they've obviously used YDS for a number of years, which has its own faults and problems and complications, but it takes a huge crew to run it. So I've actually been trying to set up something myself that is infrared and ultrasonic. So it's got two systems to essentially work together to ensure accuracy and prevent glitching in theory. But yeah, I'm not there yet. Probably some time off, because I haven't had any time to work on it this year so far, unfortunately. But
who knows? Maybe these guys have the key.
Yeah, which is what I'm saying. Fire me a message. Yeah. Whoever set it up, send me a message.
Yeah, awesome. And Stephen Carter was asking where in Germany it is. It's in Stuttgart.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a bit too far for me to just go one day.
It's easy. It's easy. There's a good museum there, I hear.
I know. We drove past it a few years ago. Maybe make a trip out of it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, as I was mentioning, competition. Actually, they drive on the same DS Racing tires, the F0 Mark IIs, as they do in Sweden, which is interesting because in Sweden they drive on carpet. Here they drive on concrete. So same tire, completely different surfaces. So
it's just like us and Silver Dots. We use them on both.
Yeah, so it seems like they also found one of the most consistent DS tires there. Yeah, and like I said, there was a champion as well. So Marco Kraft, he was the champion for 2019. He had to wait for it quite a while.
Yeah, it's got to be a bit weird having your last round and then, or the previous round, and then a big wait, Christmas, start of the year, a couple of months, and then finally get to know that you're definitely champion.
Yeah, but at least you can take the title and put the trophy on the shelf, and it's yours. So congratulations. And I also saw he moved Yokomo Ref D. So
I think you need to say that again, Tijs.
I also saw he moved from Yokomo to Ref D, so that's also an interesting step.
Yeah.
Yeah, new things for 2020 season.
Join the rest of the crew.
If he can keep the title for this year with the changes. So yeah, lots of things going on this weekend.
Yeah, man.
We have one more, right?
Yes, we do.
South Africa.
Yes.
And I don't know if you've listened to the Bob Rock podcast.
I haven't actually.
A little bit this week.
Just on that note, I literally saw it for the first time today, just when I was getting ready for this. So that's on my list to go and catch up.
Yeah, so we're not the only ones who are doing this. So it's cool to see more people coming up with more information and discussions.
And I actually see a bunch of the South African guys in chat. So hello, everyone.
I'm sure they've listened to it. For sure. So yeah, the competition this year was or this weekend was in Gauteng, and I hope I say it correctly because I heard Bob Rock challenging everyone to pronounce it correctly. So I hope I did it justice. But it was at EDC RC Drift Track, and they have also a regional championship going on. This was the first round. So like in the UK, I think they also split up the country a little bit and have multiple regional championships going on, which is great. Makes it easier for people to get to the tracks and the comps, I think.
Yeah, makes it much more affordable.
In South Africa, but it might be a bit challenging here and there. Yeah, and Vivian himself got a top qualifier, so I know why he's sharing this information.
He's very happy to give us this information today, and he's helping me out by getting me some tables. So thanks for that, man.
All right, cool. Yeah, and these guys actually run on the Yokomo tires, which I found interesting.
Yeah, the DRA.
Yeah, so their track is a concrete track, if I saw it correctly.
Yeah.
a bit rougher concrete maybe.
Yeah.
But I haven't really seen anyone run the Yokomo tires in competition except for Yokomo themselves.
No, I mean, I ran on them once at RCDC, but that was the DRCs. And I think I ran the DRAs at Yatabe for the RCDC event that we did there. But other than that, yeah, they haven't been the most popular. But then this appears to be an outdoor track. Maybe it's not the cleanest as well, well as it looked maybe a bit cracked. It looks the video that we'll get to in a minute. That it looks reasonably quick, but not bad. It doesn't look like it's inconsistent or too grippy. It just looks high speed, which is never a bad thing by itself.
Yeah, it looked controlled. That's probably the main thing. Yeah. And these tires were made for asphalt, if I'm correctly.
Yes, that's what the A stands for. Yeah.
So then maybe it works on the outdoor concrete as well. So yeah.
Yeah, man.
And then if you want to show the videos, we can try.
We can try. If this is where we all disappear, my computer crashed. But we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, so these were the final runs, I think, from the competition. So Vivian with the Yokomo Supra.
Yeah.
And then
looks really nice, that body, as you expect from Vivian. But yeah, as you can see, the speed is kind of high, but it's not jerky, or they're not like gripping and ungripping and loading and unloading. It's really consistent. So it looks good, and it looks like the tire works well. So that's the lead. I'm just going to play it again.
Or the drivers are just very good, which is
Vivian's lead, I should say. He was obviously top qualifier, so I'm guessing he led first. So we'd normally run it. And then, it's a reasonable chase. But then you've got Vivian chasing.
Yeah, so the guy leading now is William Serfontein Jr. So, yeah, you'll see what happens in the video.
Yes, it's a good chase. And then it's the noise everybody has to make. Is that It's just not what you want to see, and not what you expect, even as a driver. It always takes you by surprise. But
we've all been there.
Yes. Yep.
Unfortunately, yeah.
And unfortunately, more times than I care to say.
Yep. So yeah, as you can see, William won this battle with Vivian spinning, but still Vivian second place, and then William Serfontein Senior got third place. So it's the same top three as in qualifying, just different order.
Yeah,
which is always good to see. At least then it means the top three is consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have any news on when the next round is, unfortunately, but I'm sure.
This was round 1 of 6.
Yeah,
I was told. So we have more footage to come, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. So again, if you can send us videos and stuff from championships you have, particularly the good driving. Obviously, we're not going to be able to show every single run from a championship or anything like that, or from a competition or anything. But highlights is always welcome. Maybe that we have to pick and choose and only show 1 or 2 items, whether it's videos or images. But yeah, we'll do what we can to support them for sure.
Yeah, video is always good because then at least you can see how the tracks run, so you can see which lines and so on. Especially if it's the top qualifier runs or the top battles, then.
Yeah, and
a good impression.
And video always gives you the best representation of skill as well. You can see from those runs there, actually the skill level is pretty high. But just an image, you can't see that. So it's always good to be able to see the smoothness and the speed and the movement of the cars as well.
Yeah. So that's South Africa. So again, congrats to all guys who won, top qualifiers, top 3. At least it means that if you're in the top 3, you have a good chance for the championship. So that's always a good position to be in. And we have one more, right?
Maybe a bit less information. A little bit less information, but there's and actually I'm going to put the links in the chat when we're done. In the description when we're done. But Formula Drift Shift happened at Shift Circuit in Japan this weekend. And there's some really good videos gone up from it. I actually sat and watched them all today. There's 3. There's the top 32, and then part 2 is the top 16 to top 4, and then part 3 is the top 4. And yeah, it's really good. Like, it's really impressed me. It's really hard to watch competitions from Japan because sometimes you just can't follow what's going on. I know people have said to me when they've been trying to follow me at RCDC events, they don't know where we are, what's going on, especially when it gets to the top 4 and they're running a different system to normal or something like that. Whereas this event, as you can see in that screen grab, you've got Kondo chasing Kembro well, it tells you at the top, and okay, most people won't be able to read the characters, neither can I. But you can hear the names.
I'm learning.
Because me too. Slowly, very slowly. But you've got at the event you had Takahiro announcing, so you've got somebody on the microphone constantly explaining what's going on. And again, it's all in Japanese. YouTube actually does an okay job at auto-generating translation to English, at least. I haven't tried the other languages. When I was watching this earlier, it was still processing, I think, and it was glitching a little bit, so it was overlapping the subtitles on top of the subtitles sometimes. But that's the first time I've seen that bug, so I'd assume it's fixed by now. But yeah, so you can see where they are. You can see it's run 1, it's in top 32, and then after each battle, it showed you the knockout table, and you could see who progressed. But also the thing I really like, because it's Formula Drift Shift, they've got Robbie Nishida judging, along with a couple of other people whose name I've forgotten right now. But you can see, there you go, Shinji and Masao, I think is the other one. They're doing the Formula D style, showing you the judges' vote, which is really good. I like it. I like it a lot. I quite like the system of judging where the judges just decide a winner rather than having to input scores or show scores, because it's quick and easy. But I also really like that they're showing that on a YouTube video, because that's not that easy to do. And I don't know if this was from a live stream or anything like that. I don't think it was. I think this has just been edited. Like I say, I'm going to put these links in the description when this video goes live. I meant to do it before, but the top 4 part only appeared just before we went live, so I never had a chance to do it. But yeah, I recommend everybody sits and watches it all. I think the first 2 videos are like 15 or 20 minutes each, and maybe the third is about the same, so it's not a short watch, but if you're into competition drifting, it's very good. There's some cock-ups and some mistakes, some basic errors from people, but there's also some really nice driving. And there's a lot of really famous drivers in it, so you get to see how they're driving at the moment. And it was really interesting to see Kondo versus Kembro. Kondo made a real simple cock-up right at the start and gets knocked out, spoiler alert. But he made a rookie error that before they'd even really started, he was just coming out of the gate, and that's him gone. Whereas otherwise, the rest of the runs were really good.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how they do it, because as we just mentioned, every country, every competition has different of doing the judges or doing the judging, but this one is super clear. I mean, every judge just picks by himself, and you can see it on the screen, so I'm sure they're at least writing it down, but maybe they're showing it to whoever's there.
Well, actually, in the third video, they show you they're using what looks like an Etch-a-Sketch, but I'm sure it's a more complicated system than that. But they're literally just jotting it down on that and holding it up to show Takahiro, who announced it to the crowd. But it works. It works really well.
With the world.
Yeah, it works really well, and it's definitely just a really nice way when you're not there to watch something. I mean, I've watched so many competition videos over the years, and they're normally really boring because it's just run after run, and sometimes they cut, the clip cuts off before they announce that it was one more time, so you don't really know why it was one more time or what was going on. And okay, in this, they're not really explaining the reasons, or if they are, it's in Japanese. But it's just really, really easy to follow. And like I say, I think this is how anyone who's doing a competition video should be aiming to do it, because it's easy. It's easy to follow and really interesting to watch, I think.
Yeah, and they've taken quite a few other things from Formula Drift that make it spectacular to look at.
Yes.
They have the start chicane, which I saw also in the D110 Sweden, for example. I think more competitions are using this now to sort of get the lead car close to the chase car, the other way around.
I think the most of the last competitions I've done have done that in the end.
And here it seems to work as well, because some of these guys are pretty damn fast, but
yes,
it works, and it also catches a few people out.
I was going to say, and good drivers as well.
They were tapping a few of the cones or a few walls, and that's it. I think they did a rerun once.
I was going to say,
that's it.
I think it was rerun, and then if you do it a second time, you get 0.
So you have to be careful immediately, otherwise you're just done. It's a 0 for that run.
And so you actually see a lot of really high-skilled drivers being so slow and careful out of the chicane, which is exactly what it's for. It serves its purpose beautifully. Yeah,
plus it's shift. I mean, everyone likes shift.
For sure.
I think it's from pretty much everyone who goes to Japan, it's one of their, if not the favorite track they went to. And what also surprised me is that most of the body shells also look really good. Everyone really put time into delivery, the stickers, a few weird ones, which on one hand I also like, because we get it sometimes. You're like, why are you using that car? It's not really a drift car.
Yeah.
But it's happening everywhere.
Actually, did you see Kondo's blog post yesterday? I think it was.
Was it the black S15?
No. Just to go on a bit of a tangent. So Kondo's on a massive lightweight sort of obsession at the moment. He weighs absolutely everything, including he'll take your car and take your parts to weigh them, just so that he's got a record of how much that part weighs. And he posted, there's a white FC that's competing, and I actually don't know the driver, unfortunately. I didn't pay enough attention when I was watching earlier. But he's even cut out the Monster logo on the roof from the body to save weight. And it's like, but he's cut it out in a way that it just looks like it's a sticker or paint at best, because it's so detailed, and he's got all the sharpness and the crispness on the edge and everything. But it's actually cut out, which is crazy. And
that's crazy.
Yeah, I don't think I'd ever have the patience for that.
I would wonder how it works if you try to pick up a body shell and there's nothing there; it just folds.
yeah, or you end up just cracking your body doing the simplest thing rather than having a massive crash.
Yeah, or it's easier if there's a hole in the roof, then you just scoop your hand in and pick it up. But
or cut your fingers.
Possible, especially with the Monster logo. But yeah, it's cool to watch. I've only seen the first bit of the top 32, so I'm gonna spend a little bit more time later to watch the rest. I'm very curious for the top 4, but that one wasn't available yet before we started this video.
To be perfectly honest, I think I'm gonna watch it again. Because I really enjoyed it, and I was sort of doing it while I was doing some work stuff, so I wasn't paying full attention. So I think I'm going to sit down later and just watch it through again, because I really enjoyed it, like I say. So anyway, we've also got a question from Jack, and I hadn't forgotten Jack. I've made a note of it in our notes because you got it in nice and early. Jack asked us if there's any news on the update from Futaba and Accuvance for the 7PX and Accuvance Jarvis XX. On the XX front, there's nothing, but actually Futaba released version 6 for the 7PX today, I believe. I haven't actually tested it yet, and I don't think it addresses the problems that need addressing to make the S-Bus stuff work on Accuvance properly. But I believe it just adds a dual rate system for the throttle. I think it's a really small update, but I haven't put it in because it's quite possible they've snuck it in and haven't made the announcement in their release notes because it's not to do with a Futaba product. So one of the things I'm going to do, either when I'm done here tonight or first thing tomorrow, is put that update straight on my 7PX. So if it improves anything or adds that feature, I'll be posting about it on Facebook with a link to download stuff. If it's as small as they say it is, I won't make a fuss of it because it is just a feature that I'm not going to use anyway.
Yeah, this ties into what we discussed in episode 1 about the Xarvis XX and the new Fletch motor. So if you want more info on that, then I'd say watch the first episode of Pacecast as well.
Yes, for sure. And I've still got the my spare XX on my desk ready to make a video for this channel, but unfortunately I haven't had time to get around to it yet. So fingers crossed, I'm starting that tomorrow. But we'll see.
There is another video on the channel though. From yesterday or Sunday?
Yeah, it went live yesterday. From Saturday when I went to Slidehouse.
Yes.
And it's hopefully getting better with the filming stuff. Although I'm a bit disappointed to find out I missed out a couple of the guys that were there. They didn't make it into any footage, which is not intentional, just purely accidental. But yeah, I spent a whole bunch of time filming on Saturday, which was good. And this weekend I am planning to go down to Kent RC, which I've not been to yet. It's a relatively new track that opened a couple of weeks ago, or a few weeks ago I should say probably. And so I'll probably do another video down there as well with any luck. So hopefully as I do more I'll get better and they'll become a bit more interesting, but I've got to learn somehow. So yeah,
and it's nice for everyone else to see what all the tracks are. I mean, I'm sure we're going to talk about UK drift scene at some point during the podcast, so it's good to have an image with each of the tracks we're discussing. So yeah
man, for sure.
Looking forward to seeing that.
Another quick question in from Luke, which I'm pretty sure he's going to ask every time he ever mentions anything to me. Any update on the pace circuit? Not currently, but goals are still there, and maybe plans will become simpler to make them happen sooner. But yeah, still got the big goals, still got the big dream. But I'm losing patience, so I might have to scale it down a bit to make it happen this year. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I guess this would be the best place to hear it first, I guess.
Yes, for sure. If there's any news, it will definitely be announced here. Almost certainly on a Pacecast episode. So yeah, if everyone wants to buy like 10,000 t-shirts each, I'll make it happen tomorrow. But yeah, no, as soon as I can, I will. I'm desperate. I want it more than anyone. So we'll see. See how long it takes.
All right, maybe that's a good moment to wrap it up.
Yeah, I think so.
Unless there's any more questions firing.
Yeah, and if there's any quick questions, we can answer them now, and any bigger questions we can put into next week and with a bit more information. So feel free to fire them in. But yeah,
there's always a bit of a delay, so that's tricky.
Yeah, and we've got to give people frantic typing time before we end it. But yeah, if anyone wants to check out the merch store, I'm just going to put the discount back up there. So yeah, like I say, for the next week, you've got 10% off anything. And I am genuinely very happy with my t-shirt. It's really nice quality. And actually, one of the things that, I don't know if it shows properly, but there's a nice fade on this. And getting t-shirts printed with a nice fade is not that easy, as I've learned over the years. And this one is as good as I've seen. So I'm super happy.
It was the first thing I said when I saw the pictures.
Yeah.
Like, the fade came out.
Yeah,
because that's very tricky with the printing.
That's part of the reason I just ordered one for myself to see how it looked.
If it worked out or not.
Yeah, it seems to have worked out. Cool. Well, I think we should probably wrap up, and and we'll be back next Tuesday at the same time, and hopefully I'll have another video from the weekend, all being well.
Awesome. All right. Thank you guys for watching.
Yeah, thanks everyone. It's really nice to see so many people in the chat this week. And yeah, drop us a message, either comment on the video below or send me a message on Facebook or Instagram. And if you've got a question, we'll try and include it next week. But
definitely.
Catch you later, guys.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.